Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. This is Courtney, the Marketing Coordinator here at AIM. Today's webinar will be recorded and later posted on our website. This does mean that all attendees will be automatically muted so that we can get a quality recording today. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat box, and we'll try to answer them throughout the presentation, but if we're unable to get to all of them, we'll have a member of our marketing team reach out to you individually to make sure we get those answered. With that, we do have webinars every Wednesday morning, so make sure to keep your eye on your email or on our website for any new opportunities coming up soon. With that, I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Derek so that we can get started this morning. Go ahead and take it away, Derek.
Thank you, Courtney. This is Derek with American Independent Marketing. Today we have Daniel Memory, the Regional Sales Manager for the Western region of Aetna Supplemental. He's going to be covering the Protection Series Hospital Indemnity Flex, which is a great product, so I'm pretty excited to dive into that a little bit with them. And with that, I want to say good morning, Daniel, and thanks for being here.
Well, thank you both for having me, and thanks everyone for joining today. I'm a huge proponent of cross-selling. Just kind of back to my start in the insurance industry. When I started, it was 2004, and it was kind of the peak of the HSA, the health savings account days in insurance. And I quickly found that the biggest objection that I found was saving people too much money versus their 2 and 3 person group plans in finding them an HSA. So I very rapidly started cross-selling other products because, one, I earned more money. Two, and I guess that's a distant third, but two, it was better coverage for the client. And three, they felt better about spending more money. It was really an interesting lesson in my insurance career, and thankfully I learned it early on. Also interesting to me was it took me a little bit of time to get on board with that concept in the senior space. I kind of cut my teeth in Medicare on Advantage plans, and so often we become order takers, and it's just finding that coverage, zero premium PPO in a lot of cases in my market here in the Chicagoland area, and you're almost afraid to show someone anything with a premium attached to it. So I think kind of having an open mind to that really changed things for me, and it was kind of an aha moment thinking back to my start in insurance and then piecing it together in the Medicare space. So once again, thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to cover the Hospital Indemnity Flex Plan with Aetna, and we'll get into it. I just have a few slides here. Let me see if my slides will advance. So Aetna Senior Supplemental, a little bit about us, why choose Aetna, what to ask clients, and of course a product overview. I'm very much a keep it simple guy, and I tend to do trainings that way. And I think really in dealing with your clients, keeping it simple really helps the process. And I think there's a number of reasons Aetna can help you do that. And then we're going to cover some online tools. Really, if there's one thing I can impart to you today, it's do everything you can online. It is so greatly going to simplify your life. It's going to make your client's life easier, and it's just going to make you more efficient. And then, of course, we're here to help. We have a full team to support what you guys are doing every day in the field. So a little bit about Aetna Senior Supplemental. We're based in, and this says Nashville, Tennessee area. We're actually based in Franklin, Tennessee, 40 plus years in the senior market. We've got over 400 associates to support what you guys are doing every day. And then I think today we've got about 120 or 30,000 agents doing business with us. So pretty big footprint nationally. The other thing, kind of in the interest of keeping it simple, I think the name Aetna helps to make your job easier. We're not able to show this anymore since since we're into the new year, but Aetna is a 171-year-old company this year. So last year we had our 170th anniversary, and I think just that sort of branding really helps to make your job easier. Most of your clients are going to know the Aetna name. If on the offhand, on the odd situation where they don't, they certainly know the CVS name. So we are fully owned by CVS, and it just makes your job easier. You're not having to sell the brand as much as you might with other companies. AM, best A rating, excellent rated company. So really good, compelling story there. What to ask your clients. So kind of bottom line is, do your client have money set aside for out-of-pocket expenses if they go into the hospital? And that's what we're going to solve today with the hospital indemnity plan. The top 3 out-of-pocket expenses with Medicare Advantage plans are hospitalization, recuperation, and direct and indirect costs. You know, everyone can afford a zero premium MA plan until they can't afford it. And what do I mean by that? So if someone who's, you know, very tight on resources as far as money goes into the hospital, and I'll just pick on the Chicagoland plans, for instance, and my MA knowledge, I know just enough to be dangerous at this point since we're in the new year, but in the 2023 plan year, all of the Aetna plans anyhow had a $300 daily copay for days 1 through 7. So we can really mirror kind of the gaps in an MA offering with a hospital indemnity plan and provide a really compelling opportunity for a client to get a little more coverage for just a little bit more money a month and fill in the gaps in that MA plan. Direct and indirect costs. So, you know, direct costs would be going to the hospital or, you know, doctor visits, that sort of thing. But does a spouse need to get an Uber to go to the hospital to visit their spouse in the hospital, or pet sitting, or, you know, a lunch while visiting a loved one in the hospital? Those sort of things are costs that we don't really think about, but they don't go away just because someone's in the hospital. So getting into the plan. So I want to say about 3 months ago now, went to a guaranteed acceptance. And I wanted this to be early on in the presentation because I think it's important. So if you're an agent who's dealing a lot with MA plans and clients enrolling in MA plans, the one kind of hurdle that you might have had, someone aging in, of course they can get an MA plan, there's no underwriting, but our plans were always underwritten. So we've gone to a guaranteed acceptance model for ages 64 and a half through 68, where you're never going to run into a situation where you can get someone enrolled into that MA plan, but there's a hiccup because of some underwriting situation. So for 64 and a half to 68, there is no underwriting. And this is kind of a dated slide. It's probably 2 months old. We've added several more states here, and obviously the intent is to go to a guaranteed acceptance at these ages for all states. You know, these are all approved at the state level, so some states operate faster than others. So as we can get these approved, we're adding them. So hospital indemnity flex with Aetna. So basically 2 ways to structure the plan, kind of the base model, if you will. And I equate this a lot. I think it makes sense to kind of think of it in like a car purchase. You've got your base model car, and then you can add a bunch of bells and whistles typically to a car. Do you want leather seats? Do you want satellite radio, etc.? This is very similar to that. So 2 base models of the plan, and then a number of different riders that you can add to the coverage. So base models. So option 1 pays a lump sum for hospital confinement, available in units of $250 up to $4,000 max, and payable for each new period of care. And we've actually expanded the benefits on many of our ancillary products, actually. And I'll do an overview in just, you know, after we finish this specific plan of just generally our full suite of ancillary products, so you can see what's available. But so option 1, lump sum upon hospital admission. Option 2 pays a daily amount for hospital confinement. And to me, this is where this plan just pairs up perfectly alongside an MA offering. They just go together like peanut butter and jelly. They just work. So you can completely mirror the gaps in that MA plan. This is available in $10 units up to $1,000 daily max. So a few minutes ago, I mentioned that the Chicagoland plans had a $300 daily copay for days 1 through 7. I would typically show this a little bit more than that $300 a day. No one's going to complain if they go into the hospital and not only is that $300 covered, but there's an extra $50 or $100 remaining for those indirect costs. They're actually making money if they go into the hospital potentially, just depending on what you show them and what their financial needs dictate. So $10 units up to $1,000 daily. And then a number of optional riders that can be added to the coverage. So we pick a base model and then we add the riders. So there's a daily skilled nursing rider, pays each day of skilled care ordered by a doctor after hospital confinement of 3+ days. It includes observation stays. We know how common those are becoming. Diagnostic exams and x-rays, available in 10 up to $500 a day. And then you can pick the benefit period, days 1 through 20, 21 through 100, or 1 through 100. The second option is a doctor's office visit. $10 units up to 100 per visit and up to 20 visits per calendar year. Outpatient surgical procedures pays surgical procedures performed at ambulatory outpatient facilities for covered illnesses, available in increments of $250 up to $3,000 per surgical procedure once per year. Hospital ER visits and ambulance must be medically necessary in an emergency type situation, pays up to $600 per visit twice per calendar year, or per ambulance use twice per year. Optional benefits. We have a lump sum cancer rider that can be added. Benefit amounts up to $20,000. But what I would suggest is if someone is really looking for a cancer type coverage, I would strongly suggest, for a number of different reasons, show them our standalone cancer plan. One, I think we've probably all heard the statistics about, having various lines of coverage with a client and what that does for your retention. But two, our standalone cancer plan has a reoccurrence benefit that I think is absolutely the way to go for someone. It doesn't, it makes the kind of a one and done plan be able to last, and they're going to reestablish benefits as the plan ages after a claim. So the reoccurrence benefit, I think, is pretty important. And we all know the prevalence of cancer in America. I think it's 1 in 2 males, 1 in 3 females. I'm dealing with a friend right now going through cancer, and I think we've all got a story. So, basically all you have to do is bring up, who's your cancer coverage with, and people essentially sell themselves on the need. So a little bit of a tangent there, but a really good standalone cancer plan as well. And then the last rider is outpatient rehab, pays daily amount of covered illness with outpatient therapies of occupational, physical, and speech therapy, available in 15 or 30 visits per year, $250 per visit. So just like that auto purchase, the more bells and whistles that we add to the base model, the more it's going to cost. But that's, in a nutshell, our hospital indemnity plan. A few different frequently asked questions that we hear pretty commonly is, what's the period of care? The period of care begins the first day of hospital confinement due to covered injury or illness, and ends after the insured is out of the hospital or skilled nursing and doesn't require medical care for 60 days. Is the policy renewable? Yes, it is. Are benefits paid directly to the policyholder? Yes, unless they're for some reason assigned to a healthcare provider, which I wouldn't recommend. I think your clients know how to spend their money better than a healthcare provider. And then, do premiums increase because of age or health? No. And I just want to point out something. So we've had ancillary type products for over 40 years, starting with Continental Life, and Continental Life was purchased by Aetna. In that whole history of these products, we've never had a rate increase. So as I said earlier, we underwrite on the front end usually. Now we have this guaranteed acceptance period of 64.5 to 68. But historically, everything's been underwritten. So we know the exact risk we take on, and there's never been a rate increase. So you're never going to get a call from your client saying, hey, my plan went up. Let's shop around. And these are age-rated products, so whatever age they are when they sign up, that's what they're going to be paying for the life of that plan. Application and health questions. These are simple issue type products. Yes, no type answers. I can show you where to go to find the application. You can essentially build your own field underwriting guide using our website, aetnaseniorproducts.com, which I'll show you in a little bit. But very simple underwriting process, and pre-existing conditions are covered. Policy pays for pre-ex after it's been enforced for 3 months. with a 6-month look back, and benefits for all other covered injury or sickness begins on the date of issue. Viewing plans in your state, I'll show you where to kind of get a state breakdown. If you're writing in multiple states, there's a very handy tool I'll show you. Easy to use online tools. Once again, if there is anything I can impart to you today, is do things electronically. One, it's so much easier, so much faster from an enrollment and underwriting perspective. And then two, paper submitted applications don't even qualify for our agent bonus programs anymore. So for all the reasons, use these tools. We have a number of trainings that I'll show you where to access them, just kind of direct from the carrier type trainings that we do. And you can learn all sorts of things. At any given week, we've got multiple trainings going on. There is an online tool called Quotes on the Go. If you have a smartphone or tablet, both Android and Apple devices, you can access this Quotes on the Go, and it's just a mobile app. It gives you quoting accessibility in your purse or in your back pocket, wherever you've got your phone. You could be standing in a line at the grocery store and someone comes up to you and knows you're an agent somehow, or you get into a conversation. You can do a quote on all of the products that we offer in about a minute, call it a minute. And, you can't do an enrollment from your phone, but you can access all the product quotes and say, does Thursday at 10 a.m. work for you? We'll follow up on this, and then you can, enroll them online. So Quotes on the Go, that's what the logo looks like. This purple icon here at both Apple and Google Play offer it. This is all the info you need. So as far as demographics go, it's just zip code, the state will populate, date of birth, age will populate, and then effective date. So effective dates could be any date from 1 through 28, and then tobacco, yes, no, which doesn't even affect our rates anyhow. And then there's every plan and quotes for every product. Aetna Quote and Enroll, again, do things electronically. If you're not using it, you'll love it. I've never had an agent say, I want to go back to paper apps. One other thing I'll point out about this, you can actually do multiple product enrollments on one application. So let's just say you're talking to a husband and wife, and one of them has worked in corporate America for the last 3 decades. They're used to having really good group insurance. They've always had dental insurance, and you, the amazing cross-seller, say, who's your cancer coverage with? You're gonna enroll these people in 3 plans each. So 2 people, 3 plans, that's 6 different applications. In using Aetna Quote and Enroll, you can distill all those 6 apps down into one app process. Now it's going to separate the products out into their respective application and product, but it all happens in one shot. So you're saving the time that it would take to do 6 apps and distilling that down into one. So it's a really, really cool process. We have what's called a security code signature now as well, where you can select that option for the signature. Your client is going to get a 5-digit text on their cell phone, and they just read that back to you. You type in that 5-digit code, and that counts as their signature, and the apps go directly into Aetna. So your client never has to touch anything other than reading off that 5-digit code to you. So really, really cool option. Makes it very easy for the agent, for you to control 100% of the app submission process. Compliance guidelines, I don't know why that's even in there. Sales incentives, we've got a number of different sales incentives, both annual and quarterly. Information on those is available on the website. Here to help. So we've got regional sales teams. I mentioned I'm in the Western team. This is my fearless leader, Tony Clark here. This is me. This is my counterpart, Tanya, who is operationally the best person I've ever worked with. So anything we can do to help you, please let us know. We do, and we don't break, well, we kind of break it down here. On the website, there's an actual map that shows where we're operating, but we have, I think it's 22 states where we're handling. And you can see, so all the respective teams have different regions. So if you have a question about something in Florida, for instance, lean on these East region folks. They're operating in that state day in and day out, and they'll probably be much better equipped to quickly answer a question that you might have, where, we handle the Western region, and if there's something that I can answer, all of our contact information is here. Please let me know what I can do to help. We really appreciate what you do. And I've been in the field a couple different times in my insurance career, and I know how important it is to get timely, accurate answers. So if there's anything I can do from a sales perspective, let me know. We've also got an outstanding agent service team. They probably are the best that I've ever dealt with. Really good folks. They're based in our Franklin, Tennessee office, and it's almost kind of like a family feeling, where just really good folks looking to do everything they can to make your life easier. So that's really it for my slide deck here. Derek, are there any questions that have come in?
Yeah, we got a few that came in. So one of them was, are there any pre-existing exclusions?
Well, we'll take a look at the app right now and maybe answer that. I honestly, I can't even remember what is all on the app. So let's take a look and we'll answer that in a minute here. Any other questions?
That'd be perfect. Part of it is kind of about how long it takes to do the app for some of those people who are looking to pivot away from Advantage and kind of get a time frame of how long it might take to go through it. So looking at that would be perfect. Probably knock out a few of those questions at once.
Okay. So yeah, we'll just take a look at the paper app, because that'll give you an idea of how onerous or how detailed you have to be as far as what information is required. But it's like any online app system, and I would highly encourage you to do things online. Of course, I've said that 3 times now. But like anything, if you wait to see this online enrollment tool for the first time when you're sitting with a client, it's not going to be the experience that you or your client want. So I would highly encourage you to do a couple fake apps. By the time you see that third one, you're going to be a polished professional. It's going to be really easy. So agents that have used this tool a number of times, it probably takes them 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Someone who's never seen it before, it might take 45 minutes. Every app has its nuances from every carrier. Other questions?
Yeah. So kind of with your position, what would you say would be kind of the key, target demographic as far as age, who agents should really be looking at trying to set up with this?
You know what? That's a great question. So here's my answer to that. Any age. So we have an issue age of 18 to 89 on this product. And since the Affordable Care Act, I think this type of coverage makes a lot more sense for a lot more people. And the other reason I say that is it's age rated. And as we saw before, we've never had a rate increase on any of our ancillary products. So whatever age someone signs up, the younger they are, the cheaper it's going to be for the lifetime of that enrollment. So for a number of different reasons, the earlier the better. Additionally, if you are typically a Medicare geared agent, we know kind of the compliance guidelines around Medicare Advantage and prescription drug kind of outreach. How do you find a new client? Well, CMS has us kind of jumping through some hoops to figure out what we can do compliantly. So if they're already your client, let's say you get someone on at 58 years old, and 7 years later they're looking to figure out what their options are for Medicare coverage, you can now proactively reach out to that person and say, hey, Jim, you've been with me for 7 years. I know your birthday is 8 months away. Let's look at your Medicare options. And now, you get around that compliance stuff. You're building a pipeline into that age 65. So I think these coverages, we all know what's going on post Affordable Care Act. We're all seeing increased out-of-pocket expenses on our coverage and premiums. So, maybe someone can't pay for that $5,000 deductible plan, and this hospital indemnity lump sum really goes a long way to helping them with that. Great question.
And one I have for you, especially since you touched on kind of selling it yourself and doing some different things, what kind of strategies would you have for those people who've been selling mainly just Med Advantage and they would like to learn to kind of pivot, to this product? Do you have any kind of, not necessarily elevator speech, but something you just went to?
Yeah, that's another really great question. And it's so simple, it's almost too simple. So the key difference with agents who do well cross-selling versus those who don't is simply talking about the products. Everyone has a different selling style, if you will. I try to keep things simple. So like for me, who's your cancer coverage with Mr. and Mrs. Jones? They didn't even know there was cancer coverage. They start telling you about Uncle Ernie and the 4 months of chemo and radiation that he's gone through. They've now sold themselves on the need of the product. Hospital indemnity plans, anyone coming off of a supplement, why do people leave Medicare supplement products? They want to save money on their premium. If you can find them a zero premium MA plan, you know, and I'm just going to make the number up, you know you're saving them $200 a month versus their supplement and their Part D premium. Do they probably have $33 a month to fill in all the gaps on that MA plan with a hospital indemnity product? They sure do. To them, they're still saving $160+ a month. And are they going to tell people that the great kind of customized benefit package that their agent got them if they go into the hospital and that daily copay is covered and maybe even more than that daily copay? So really the key difference is simply talking about the products. You'll figure out how you weave it into your kind of your elevator speech, as you mentioned. To me, it's almost like CMS teased this up for us. So we've got the scope of appointment. I would always have your client check all 5 boxes on the scope. That's kind of planting a subtle seed by CMS that there might be other coverages available, right? So that's kind of at the onset. And then during the Medicare Advantage enrollment, you're going through the benefit summary. I think an easy way to weave this into that elevator speech to me is you get to that daily copay line in the benefit summary. Mrs. Jones, do you want to pay for that, or do you want the insurance company, or do you want Aetna to pay for that? Just pause. Of course they want the insurance company to pay for that. Okay, we'll come back to that. I'll show you how we get that covered. It's really kind of an easy way to weave this into what you're doing, but simply talking about it, whatever that looks like for you, is the key differentiator from agents who are doing well with these and those who aren't.
Yeah, perfect.
Any other questions
and
there?
I loved earlier, for some people who came later, how you mentioned some of those expenses people aren't really thinking about, such as, you know, if they need to get pet care, if they're going to have to Uber in, right? Things that, you know, definitely aren't going to be covered by any other plan they may have. It's a good way to kind of touch on some stuff that people really don't think about as far as expenses when, you know, themselves or a spouse has to go into the hospital for any extended amount of time.
Yeah, absolutely. There's all sorts of expenses that pop up, you know, during someone being in the hospital. It could be cutting the grass. You know, Jim has cut the grass for 40 years at the house. Now he's in the hospital. Who's going to cover that? So, you know, a lot of different expenses pop up. And I mentioned doing the daily copay for more than the daily copay amount in the MA plan specifically. That's also a hedge against inflation. We know that these daily copays probably will rise over time. If someone's got a $300 daily copay today, what does that look like 5 years from now? If you enroll them into a $350 hospital indemnity benefit, they're probably not going to be mad because they spent $2 extra a month on that. You know, it's just money well spent.
Yeah, and then
Any other
as far as
questions?
everything else, a lot of the questions are pretty specific, so we'll get back to you guys when we do our follow-up calls. And then I think just going back kind of to what that paper app looks like as far as the questions and you know, what might be on there as far as what will weed out some of the potential clients. I mean, obviously, ages 64 and a half to 68, we're pretty covered.
Yeah, definitely. No worries there. Okay, so I'm gonna join this obviously from an agent perspective for today's training. But what I want to point out here, so if you guys haven't been on the Aetna Senior Products website, this is it. It's the homepage. And what you'll note here is on this drop down and on these 3 boxes here front and center, this is, of course, for agents. This is where everything that we do is going to happen. But this is also, providers are using this. And then your clients, our members, can also utilize this. They can look at their plan information, claims status, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of different functionality here. And just wanted to point that out. If you have kind of tech savvy clients that would be happy to go onto the website, by all means, show them at seniorproducts.com and let them get set up with a user ID and password and utilize the site. But of course, we're gonna join today from an agent perspective. I've got to do one extra step that you guys won't have to. As an employee, I have to impersonate an agent. So I'm just going to impersonate an agent I know here in the Chicagoland area. And we will be good to go. So let me just do that. I don't think Dave would mind me impersonating him. I won't show any of his client information to you guys. So tons of different functionality here. First thing I want to point out is here, top right, there's a directory. Everything A to Z Aetna is contained in this directory. So if you need to get contracting, commissions, agent services, claims information, any physical address, any email address, and any phone number for all the respective departments is contained in this directory. Additionally, all of our sales team stuff is here. I mentioned that map earlier. So these are the states that I handle with my team, with Tony and Tanya, even Alaska and Hawaii. So I know you guys are in Washington. If you're a brand new agent, this is great to just see who's where. There's also a product guide, a product availability chart that I'll show you in a second here. But lean on us if we can help you in any way. We're happy to do so. So just wanted to point out where that directory is. Then a series of tabs here. And actually, before I do that, we've added a chat functionality here. It's probably been almost 2 years ago now. I haven't heard one bad word about this. Agents that utilize this really like it. It can save you from even having to go through the phone prompts. So it's just a little bit faster. We have senior agent service folks who man that chat functionality, so you're going to get very quick and very accurate information typically. But then under the products tab here, at this kind of, I call it folder tabs at the top of the page, we've got a product availability chart. So I mentioned kind of multiple different ancillary products. And what this does is it just very quickly and easily shows you what's available in what state. So if you're a brand new agent just writing in Washington state, let's say, and want to see what's available, go right to Washington. Here it is. If you're a veteran agent doing business in 35 states and you're adding your 36th state, it's really difficult to remember what's available where. This can also help to that end. I'll point out that there is an effective date here in the top left of this first page. These are state approved products that can and sometimes do change mid-plan year, very dissimilar to the CMS type products like Medicare Advantage and prescription drug plans that are static from January 1st through December 31st. These plans can and do change sometimes mid-plan year. Typically, we're just adding additional states where the plan is available, or like we're going to that guaranteed acceptance type model in multiple states. Those are the types of changes that we usually see. But then the second page of this, which I think is helpful, it just gives us kind of an overview, bullet pointed overview of all the respective products that we offer, and issue ages, and then just kind of the nuts and bolts of each coverage. So just real quickly, a year ago, I would have said MedSup is kind of the cornerstone of what we do. I would still say that, but over 50% of what we're doing is in these ancillary products. So there's a lot of value in these other coverages for folks. Of course, we've got a great suite of MedSup plans in most states, I'll say. We've got a couple different final expense type products. Cancer, heart, stroke, that's the one that I mentioned. If someone's looking for cancer coverage, this is probably what you want to show them. Issue ages 18 to 89 and benefit amounts up to $75,000. And there is that reoccurrence benefit that I mentioned. There's a home care plan, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's home care up to $1,500 a week, and daily hospital benefit of up to $400 what I would say is that's a great plan B to our recovery care product, which is issue ages 50 to 89. But this has more bells and whistles, and it doesn't have to be medically necessary to go on claim. So they could just not meet 2 of the 6 ADLs and go on claim with our recovery care product. If you guys are doing anything in the traditional long-term care space, this is a product you should absolutely know about. We know what's gone on in the LTC world over the last 12 or so years, maybe a little bit longer now, with significant tightening of underwriting and huge rate increases. Like I said, we've never had a rate increase on any of our products. This pays up to 360 days and 2 benefit periods. So really good plan, can much easier to qualify for than a traditional long-term care plan, and way, way less expensive. So really good product. Our hospital indemnity plan, of course, that we're talking about today, and then a couple different dental, vision, hearing plans. So if you guys have any questions on these, please reach out. Maybe we can do a training later on some of these other products. But so going down to this products tab, we've got a drug list here. So this in conjunction with our order supplies, which will get us to the app, the paper version of the app, you can build your own field underwriting guide. So I'm just going to click on drug list. And sometimes I feel like I'm kind of learning alongside of you guys. We have made some changes to the website. It doesn't seem like this wants to work for me today, oddly. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to pick Hospital Indemnity Flex, and let's see, I'll do the med sub just to illustrate how this works. So you can select as many of these as you want. I think if you choose all of them, it's going to be very jumbled here. So I just chose 2. But the way this works is, let's just go to Abilify here. It says any condition. There's not the red X under the hospital indemnity plan, but there is under med sub. So what this red X means is it, if taken for any condition on our med sub plan, it's going to be a knockout situation. It's not on our hospital indemnity, but it is on our med sub. And that's any condition, right? So let's see if there is, okay. For some reason, there are 2 Abilifies here. Oh, I know, because it's opposite on the products. So Abilify, if taken for schizophrenia or bipolar, a very specific condition, would be a knockout for our hospital indemnity. But if taken for anything else, it would not be. And the reason I point that out is the more information that you as an agent can provide on the application, the easier it is for our underwriting team to make a determination. We want to write the business if it makes sense. So if you can say, yeah, they're taking Abilify, and I think we all know, like Humira, for instance, that that business, that company is 20 minutes from my house here in the Chicagoland area, AbbVie. It seems like every few months there's some other treatment indication for Humira. That might be used to treat something very significant, a significant health condition, but maybe also, and I'm just making this up, maybe they also use it to treat nail fungus or something very benign. So the more information that you as an agent can put on there, the easier it is for our underwriting team to make the right decision as far as underwriting goes. I'll take this opportunity to point out, we've actually automated our underwriting process. So we, in 95% of our cases, have a real-time underwriting decision when you submit that application. So you can literally be on the phone with your client. You send them that security code signature option. They read it right back to you. You type the 5-digit characters in and submit that app. In real time, you're going to know whether they qualify or not from an underwriting perspective. So you can literally give them their policy number and say, yeah, just in 7 to 14 days, their packet and cards are going to be in the mail. It just makes it really good for you, the agent, to give your client peace of mind at that app submission. So just wanted to point out this drug lookup. So that's right here under the products tab. Just going down to order supplies, and this usually gives me a throw out the first time I do it, and then I have to just go right back into it. Let's see. Yeah, it did it. So let me just go here again, and this will probably open up. Now, for some reason, it does this because I'm impersonating someone. I'm not sure why it doesn't work the first time. It will for you. If you've never been in here before, you'll just have to set up your demographic info. So if you order supplies, they know where to ship it to. But let's see. So I'm just going to pick on Illinois. I mentioned I was in Illinois. So what this does is it gives us every product available in any given state. So if you, let's just say in Washington State, you're looking for something that isn't there, it's not going to appear here. It's very state specific. So let's just go to the hospital indemnity flex. We're going to take a look at every bit of marketing material available, kit, and you can order kits of each respective product. And what is in the kit is everything listed down below here. So you've got a brochure, you've got outline of coverage, you've got an application, you've got HIPAA forms, replacement forms, anything you would possibly need. I would highly encourage you guys, just order a couple kits of every product, whether you think you're going to sell it or not. One, it just gives you something at your fingertips when you're sitting at your desk. I sometimes think it's easier to just kind of walk through this stuff as an agent in hard copy sometimes. But two, it just gives you a leave behind if you run into a situation where someone says, hey, that hospital indemnity plan sounds good. It gives you a leave behind. Clients really like you leaving something there, and a nice concise kit is really, they look great, and it's a lot of info for your client. So I'm just going to go to the application and download it. I am working on a new computer, and it's a little different from my old one. All right, so this is the application. Again, simple issue type coverage here. Their demographic info. We're going to select either option 1 or option 2, which base model we want, if you will, and then any optional benefits. And I would highly encourage you, again, it's like I'm a broken record here, but do things electronically, and that includes your quoting. We do have paper quoting sheets. I'll tell you, in almost 5 years in this position, 100% of the time, if a client was paying the wrong premium amount on an application, or there was some legibility or something was omitted on an application, 100% of the time over 5 years it was submitted on paper. It's interesting because 96% of our business comes in electronically. It's probably higher than that now. So it keeps everything easy. You can't proceed through the application electronically if something's omitted. So it just makes it very easy. So here are the different riders. And then, of course, we're going to get down to our health questions. Are you confined to a hospital or nursing facility, received any type of home health care, dependent on wheelchair, or bedridden? Within the last 36 months, have you been diagnosed for the following? So this is, and was there a specific condition that was asked, Derek?
No, not really specific. I think they were kind of just seeing generally what might, get some people kicked out from, being considered.
Okay. So we've got, are you currently within the last 36 months, within the last 24 months, within the last 12 months? So that's really kind of the nuts and bolts of the app here. Diabetics, up to 40 units of insulin, so pretty high amount of insulin, still can get underwritten. And then within the last 10 years, cancer with results pending or needing evaluation. So pretty simple issue type stuff here. You're going to know, using this in conjunction with that drug lookup, you're going to know with almost total certainty whether or not someone qualifies. And on those odd situations where there's like a multi-use medication, the more information that you can list there, the easier it is for our underwriters to say, yeah, nail fungus is not a big deal to us. We'll issue that. And like I said, it's real-time underwriting. on e-apps. So it just makes the process so fast and so simple for you and your client. I would highly suggest it. But that's really the app there. So, nothing too crazy as far as that goes. Any other questions come in?
Just some really specific ones that we can get to later.
Okay. All right, just a couple other things. I've mentioned the online app about 8,000 times. That's right here, Aetna Quote and Enroll. I just want to point out there's a sandbox link. So and I would highly encourage this, play around with it. You can't break anything on the whole website. So spend some time on the website, learn it. There's really no substitute for just kind of getting in there and getting your hands dirty with it. So we've got this sandbox. If you want to just play around with that, that's not a live field. You can actually go into a real app and do it that way. It should be the same functionality. To me, the sandbox works a little slower, but I think it's because I'm impersonating someone. It works a little differently for me than it will you. If you want to just use the live field, just go in there. I would say run a quote, do a fake enrollment application, but just don't submit it, because this version is the live field, and it would submit that application for Santa Claus, and someone will have to say, yeah, that Santa probably really didn't apply, and we'll have to throw it out. So it just saves us a little extra work. But the other thing I wanted to point out is training. So I mentioned a series of ongoing training webinars. If you click this training tab, this drops out, and then product webinars. These are all our slide decks on trainings that happen off of a slide deck. I try to do a lot of these live, because then we can kind of pivot and answer questions as they come in. But we've got live webinars, and I just clicked that purple box at the top here. And I think we just have these populated through January, but maybe we've added more. No, we haven't yet. So like I said, just ongoing trainings. I would highly encourage you, if you're new to the Aetna supplemental online quoting and enrollment process, attend this. My counterpart, Colleen, does this training. She does an outstanding job with it. It's about an hour and a half long. So she literally probably takes most of that time. It is longer, but she's forgotten more than I've ever known about our quote and enroll process. And you will be a total expert if you attend that and do 2 fake enrollments. You're going to know that process inside and out, and be much more comfortable with it when you get that client in front of you and kind of work through that, or get that client on the phone, whatever your process is. But we've got specific kind of process training like this. We've got an agent website tutorial, which I do with my counterpart, Tanya. Tanya gets very specific with it. If you want to know how to look up pending cases, commissions, all of that stuff, Tanya covers that. And I do kind of a high-level overview like I'm doing right now. But that's another good one to attend. And then we've got specific product training. So cancer, heart, stroke, hospital indemnity, TBH, all sorts of different ongoing training opportunities for you guys. And then we've got these town halls also, which are pretty good. It's just kind of a state of the union for what's going on that quarter with Aetna Supplemental. So if you've got any additional time, which I know we're all very busy, but these are pretty good. They've been very well received from the agents that I've spoken with after attending. They started when COVID was going on, and we just kind of wanted to kind of settle things down and say, yep, we're very much here, and business is going on, and this is kind of the result. They continue on, and agents like them. So lots of different training opportunities. Any other questions have come in, Derek?
No, nothing too new. Just some of the stuff that you've been covering, some of the things they missed. So pretty set there.
Okay. All right. Well, that's really all I have to share. Thanks so much for attending, you guys, and spending almost an hour with me. Anything I can do or answer for you down the road, you know where to get my contact information now, the directory here at the top of the page. And please let me know what I can do to help. Thanks so much.
Awesome. I just want to say thank you for being here. That was, really informative, and it really shows why this is such a popular product. Whether people are looking to pivot or kind of just sell it by itself, depending on what they're focusing on. Super easy to use. Like Daniel was saying, the e-app makes this very simple and you get real-time underwriting. Really doesn't have much time to, if you're focusing on Med Advantage, to be able to pivot to it. For everybody who's on here whose questions we didn't get to, we will be following up after and giving you a call like usual. If you're watching this on the recording later on and you have any questions, feel free to give us a call in the office at 800-672-7202. And also just want to say thank you to Courtney again for helping put all this together. And, and Daniel, thanks for being here. And we'll try and get you back on here and go through some more of those ancillary products that, a lot of agents are having great success with. So
Great. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
perfect. Thank you everybody for being here.